I'm Brent Ackerson, one of your Democratic Metro Council members. I'm also a candidate this year for the Democratic primary for Jefferson County Attorney. There's something very important that the voters need to be aware of this year for this county attorney's race, and that is we've had some unethical practices taking place for years. Our current county attorney, Michael Connell, has been engaged in political patronage since taking office. And that patronage is this. He turns to his staff, and there's pressure put on the staff to donate to his political campaigns. That pressure comes in the form of keeping their jobs. That pressure comes in the form of will they get raises? That pressure comes in the form of will they advance? Will they be promoted? And it's wrong. 4 years ago, when Mike ran for re-election for this office, he was told by the Courier-Journal to stop this shaking down of his employees. He was told that it was wrong and that the practice of patronage should cease. It really kind of reminds us of something from the turn of the century, back when people were driving around in Model T cars, to have employees being forced to give portions of their hard-earned money to a boss's campaign. And so we find ourselves here in the 21st century, the year 2018, that this practice is still going on. So Mr. O'Connell was asked 4 years ago to stop this practice, and his attitude was no. And that's proven by the fact that in 2014, there was no general election challenger to Mr. O'Connell. There was only a Democratic primary, the same as this year. So in 2014, after Michael Connell won the Democratic primary for the Jefferson County Attorney's Office, he was in essence assured that he was going to win the general election because there was no Republican challenger. However, after winning that primary and having money left still in the political coffers, he again turned to his employees and had them donate to the 2014 general election. Again, an election that he had no challenger in. There were 39 employees who, after they'd given in the primary, turned around and gave in the general. A general election that there was no challenger. So in essence, there really was no election that year. But 39 of these employees, after their boss had won re-election, had been guaranteed another 4 years in office, felt the pressure need to go ahead and pad his political coffers again. That's just downright wrong. And if you think that maybe they're just doing it because they want to, let's think about this. I have here in front of me, and you'll see it on your screen right now, the last portion of that 2014 finance report that was filed with the Kentucky Registry of Election Finance. And you see on there, this one has a total of 5 assets to the campaign at that time. One of them being a bank, 2 cents. Another one being a lobbyist. But there's 3 folks highlighted on here. All 3 employees of the county attorney's office. You'll see that one of those employees gave $100. And you can see on there the date of that contribution was on 11/24/2014. Now, 11/24, the general election is the first Tuesday in November. So this $100 contribution that Michael Connell contributed to or attributed to the general election, again, election that he did not have because there was no challenger really, that came in on November 24th, weeks after the election, the general election was over. We see there was a $500 contribution from an employee, again, on 11/24, weeks after the general election had been over, and weeks after there really had been no election at all because no one was challenging him. And then we see the third employee gave $1,000, $1,000 to their boss after the boss had already won, been guaranteed another 4 years in office. I didn't file to run against Michael Connell until December 15th of 2017. So After winning re-election in 2014 with no challenger, Mr. O'Connell continued to pad the campaign coffers with his employees' money. These are people who don't make a ton of money. They're not rich. These are folks who are getting paid off taxpayer dollars. Think about it. Would you give $1,000 to someone after they had won if you didn't have to? If you didn't feel pressure to, knowing that they were going to have that office for another 4 years already? Would you give $500 of your hard-earned money? Would you give $100 of your hard-earned money after they'd already won? And after you'd already given money in the primary election when they actually had an election challenger? Again, 4 years ago, the Courier-Journal told Mike O'Connell to stop this patronage. And he hasn't. In this general election, or this primary election that we're having right now, there is no general election because no Republican has filed. But in this primary election we're having right now, Mike O'Connell, for this election, has already received over $100,000 from his employees. $100,000. There's about 420 employees in the county attorney's office. And $100,000 has been collected in the last few years from these employees, prior to anyone challenging Mr. O'Connell, prior to my filing against Mr. O'Connell. This form of shakedown is unethical. It should have stopped long ago, but it hasn't. Now, if Mr. O'Connell will not stop it himself, it's up to us, the community, to stop it. It's up to us to say enough is enough. Patronage and shaking down of government employees for money is wrong. I have declared in this campaign that we will not take any money from county attorney employees. And I have pledged in this campaign and declared that when we win on May 22nd of this year, that we will put an end to any county attorney employees ever in the future giving to any political campaigns, including mine. I will not take their money now, and I will not take their money in the future. They've earned that money. They're government employees. They're not paid enough as is. And it's just wrong. It's time for this community to recognize when politicians and elected officials engage in unethical behavior, such as this, shaking down of employees, it needs to end. I'm Brent Ackerson. I need your vote. I need your help. On May 22nd, there will be an election. I want you to also, in conclusion, take a look at this clip, because this is Mr. O'Connell himself, in his own words, from earlier this week, talking about taking the money from his employees.
If they choose to give, I will accept it. I've done it throughout my time as county attorney, and I'm honored that they do that, and I'm going to continue to do that if they wish to give. So,
help me put an end to this unethical practice. I'm Brent Ackerson, running for county attorney. If you believe that changes are needed, and you believe in what we're talking about and ending this unethical practice, please share this video with your friends. Thank you.